Today on Locked On Rockies. Well, good teams will do that to you.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 26th day of August in the year 2024. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you have found the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. We are going to break down the Yankees series there. It was kind of what was expected, but there were missed opportunities by the Rockies that we have to highlight, and kind of shows when you have a chance, you got to capitalize. But we can't ignore the fact that the Rockies went out there and put a solid performance on together on Saturday, and that was headlined by a lot of rookies as well. We're going to talk about that. And going to talk about how this series coming up with Miami, to be totally honest, this is it's weird to say, but this is a statement series for the Rockies. This should be one that the Rockies not only win, but I want to see them sit in the driver's seat for here coming up against Miami. We'll talk about that coming up here on today's episode and more. But before we do that today, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by SupplyHouse. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, h-vac, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. So I think the main focus for Rockies fans for this weekend and from this should mostly be about Saturday. But I think the other thing, if we're going to start negatives first, and we're gonna pick on some stuff, because you can apply some of this to Friday as well. You have to take advantage of your opportunities, and that's what they did on Saturday. The Yankees played sloppy baseball over the weekend. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would argue that, you know, they're lucky they ended up playing the Rockies, and especially in the finale. Like, I can't really think of a worse matchup for Austin Gomber than the Yankees in New York, other than maybe the Yankees or maybe this upcoming Orioles series in Colorado. Because exactly what happened only once to Gomber. I know that it was but what the Yankees showed you is that's the ceiling. That's the level of talent. You have to be able to face that lineup, that 3, 4, 5, or whatever they were in the order, Stanton, Judge, and Soto. You have to face them in the biggest moments, and you have to get them out. And they got him out a couple of times. And man, what a crazy, scary moment with the umpire there on Sunday. Hope he's doing okay. Never seen anything like that in baseball ever. And talk about just the absolute odds of that happening, the chances of that happening, for the bat to break that way and to wrap back and wrap in just in that specific direction. I mean, just one of the weird things in life, and hopefully, like, again, I mean, it was man, but from everything that we saw, it sounded like the response was swift, was handled. I didn't see anything necessarily after the game about his condition or anything, but the umpire did leave with the brace on, and it was just whoa. It's just like it's just one of those things, because baseball had, you know, before they put the nets up and everything, man, when they used to just rocket foul balls into the, like, it's crazy to think that we didn't have the nets now, right? Like, it was controversial at one point to put the netting up for baseball, but now it's just like, well, duh. Like, so just, I mean, just totally, I couldn't, it was like, I saw it happen, and then I just wasn't sure if it, because the way the bat broke, I was like, was there any type of a sharp piece or something too? But no, I mean, it was just crazy. But like I said, sounds like everyone, Romo responded, everyone kind of, the game didn't matter when it didn't matter type of deal. So, but what a scary moment there. The point is, though, to just go back to what we're saying, it's you have to be able to beat those teams 4 out of 7 times. And until you've built a team that you're confident can do that, that shows you how far off you are from the champ. I mean, this season's weird enough, I think, in the big picture. I think there are good teams there are teams that can beat the Yankees, certainly, but it's like that's what a World Series offense looks like. That's what a World Series team looks like. That's what depth looks like. That's what spending big money looks like. I mean, that is when you play the Yankees, you are getting a glimpse. You are getting a look at a completely unique environment. One that's not 100% unique that compared to some of the other big markets that have similar budgets and similar flexing. Looking at our friends to the west there in LA. But it is uniquely when you do go there and when you play in Yankee Stadium too, it is, I think it shows these young guys, when they go through and when they see the players, when they see when they go up against them, when they compete against them and they see that this is what we have to beat in order to be the best. It just reminds you how far the Rockies need to go. But on the flip side, the Rockies rookies went in there and made some noise on Saturday. The Rockies made a statement on Saturday, and really they could have done the same on Sunday had they capitalized in the first inning with the errors and things like that. They had the Yankees on the ropes. But that'll be that's the next step for this young team. That's is to follow through, is to hit them with the knockout blow in the finale. Win that third road series of the year. Oh God, it's painful to say. But let's focus on the fact that the Rockies against the Yankees on Saturday, Ezequiel Tovar goes up and gets a couple of hits. Brenton Doyle gets a couple of hits and a walk there. I'm sorry, gets a hit, drives in a run, gets did Doyle go yard in that game? I can't remember. I needed to double check there. But the 2009 champion teams there. They got all the big dogs are there, and then the Rockies jump out ahead, and Bradley Blaylock, man, I mean, goes out there and handles some of the biggest names in baseball. And that was an RBI single. I couldn't, so that was in the top of the third, but 3-0 lead, keeping the pressure on the entire game, and then highlighted by the Rockies' big-time spark plug, Jake Cave, who goes out and hits for a dang near triple near the cycle. Nolan Jones had to put together some good at-bats in this series that definitely he was looking a little more comfortable, including the 2-run double on Saturday. He was looking a little bit better up there, getting a little bit more in a groove, a little bit more comfortable. But man, this Yankees this lineup is just adding Jazz to that lineup. So crazy. But you know what? I really did love to see the Michael Toglia home run. I really did like to see. I know he's the broadcast talked a lot about that being the Yankees being the team he grew up, fell in love with baseball with watching and seeing. That's cool. It was really cool. I think for a lot of those young guys to go out there and perform, and it was the entire bullpen too. It was Peralta, Chavi, and Molina also all going out there and throwing, racking up 9 strikeouts against the Yankees. The bullpen, no walks, no hits allowed, going in there and lights out dominant. It was Peralta's debut. I mean, to go in there and do so well. That stuff does matter. The Yankees, it could have easily been a Yankee sweep, dominant, put their foot down. And the Rockies needed to respond after letting down Kyle Freeland, because Kyle Freeland didn't pitch bad. That's a solid start from Kyle Freeland, where the offense needs to back him up. I mean, it's the long ball. It's the the Achilles heel of the Colorado Rockies. What did we talk about going into the series? What did the Rockies need to prevent? Home runs. What did they not prevent in this series? Home runs. But at this point, it was inevitable, really, when you have second best team at hitting home runs facing team that gives up the most home runs and pitcher that gives up the most home runs. Home runs are going to be hit. Hey, but the Rockies hit some home runs as well. I don't come away from that series being overall super disappointed. That was the expected result. But yesterday or Saturday's game was a good thumping. And yesterday, I'm mostly frustrated about the missed chances in the first. Because towards the end of the game and the back-to-back home runs, guess what? You're playing. You went up against the better team beat you, and sometimes you just got to throw your hands up and say, "All right, that's how it goes. That's how it happens." The Yankees hit home runs. The Yankees are better than the Rockies. Those dudes are going to go off, and for that, and go off they did. Let's put a bow on this conversation. Just kind of wrap that up, and then let's. I want to talk about this Miami series and kind of how it can be the inverse of this series from against the Yankees here. Let's do that coming up here in segment number 2. Before we do that, though, got to let you know about some of the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes our friends at SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the spot for is the site for the skilled trades. SupplyHouse.com. It's the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every trade master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. Every time you like a video, every time you subscribe to the channel, well, I guess you only need to subscribe once. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, and when you leave 5-star reviews on your favorite streaming services, really does help the show grow. Appreciate that. Hey, if you need more baseball talk to listen to, why not check out Locked On MLB with our pal Sully. Sully knows the game in and out, all the teams across the league, and he's going to be breaking things down for you all baseball season long, and that includes postseason. So check it out there. And hey, if you need to take your Rockies play-by-play action on the go, why not listen to SiriusXM app? They got you covered. Rockies play-by-play every game all season long. Check it out there. So I wanted to you can point to a lot of things there, but in reality, I look at that series against the Yankees and you can feel a little bit better. You can feel like while the Rockies end up getting blown out, the Rockies played competitive baseball for the vast majority of that series against the Yankees. They also still showed that they have a lot of room to grow. They still showed that to get to that level, it's going to take time. This is the reminder of when the Rockies play the Dodgers. You know, it's kind of a reminder when the Rockies play the Padres, but with the weird thing of the Rockies have the confidence boost to go up and slay that beast. And it's not like the Yankees are the Rockies' rivals. In fact, the graphics that were being shown over the weekend show that the Rockies usually handle the Yankees pretty well. But the point is, it's you can go away from that series, not bummed that they lose 2 out of 3. You can sit there and say that's a series you learn and grow from as a young ball player. in a series in which you are in a season in which it's all about about development and about the little things and not about the wins and losses. It's about learning that, it's about the Rockies young guys there on the pen and the guys that pitched in the game yesterday, teaching them about you got to execute. You can't miss your pitches. We talked about that. Jeff Criswell goes in there, and the broadcast made this a good point about this too. You're going to face these guys. If you are a major leaguer, if you are a major league starter or relief pitcher, or you are going to face Judge, Soto, Stanton, Chisholm, and Ohtani. You're going to face the best in the business in high leverage, big situations. You got to get them out. And obviously, being great players, it's hard to do that. But it's now you got beat by Judge, and you can do it. And the nice thing about this series, though, is on the other side of the coin, you say you have other guys that can go and say, I went and made my debut. I got 5 outs and didn't let anybody go there. I got strikeouts. I piled them on. You got Chavihi, who comes in and has another solid performance against it. I mean, it's there. It's there. There's still inklings there. There's still things to learn from giving up back-to-back jacks. It's a moment in which it shouldn't be something that it's one of the things that is a mental test for you there, because I can't imagine it feels very good to give up back-to-back jacks. But on the flip side, it's all right. As a competitor, I got beat. How do I avoid that next time? How do I hit my spot next time? How do I make a better pitch? Where did I go wrong there? What was the mistake? And, I kind of joked a little bit about this, but Austin Gomber, felt confident in his pitch call, and unfortunately it didn't work. It's that series. It's the Rockies play the Dodgers frequently enough that you see we see that elite level talent, right? But again, it's a kind of a nice reminder to play these other teams when they come in and show you again. You have to get the outs. You have to get the big outs. And a big reason why they jumped so far ahead on Saturday is because they took advantage of the mistakes, and they didn't do that on Saturday because they were given a gift on Sunday on Sunday in the first inning. But the point is, there's as much as you can look at the scores of the games and be frustrated. Honestly, more frustrated about the game with Kyle, but good pitchers can do that to you as well. There's still a lot to sit there and be like, okay, I'm encouraged by that. And now you have a series in which, if you're the Rockies, this is a series in which the Rockies need to show something. I think this is a series in which the Rockies need to flex a little muscle. It needs to, these young guys, the young guys need to come into this series feeling a little bit more confident and feeling like the dog, like the big dog. It's hard to feel that way very often for the Rockies in this series, but this is Miami coming in for a 4-game series against you at home. This is a Miami team that looks completely different than when you played them and had that really, really frustrating and really, really tough series against them in Miami, in which you one of the worst series of the year for the Rockies. Just like we can sit there and we can have talk about the growing pains and taking the little victories away from losses there. You can't lose this series to the Marlins. You can't let this Marlins team come in and beat you really at all. I mean, one game's fine, but this needs to be a series win for the Rockies. You need to put yourself in the right mindset that to continue the thought of, this is a bad team that's coming into our house. We need to beat them. This is an opportunity for the young guys to really thrive, because this is a team that has traded away a bunch of players. This is a team that also has people making MLB debuts. This is a team in Miami in which you have to be the better team. You have to show that you are the better team, that your young guys are on it. Because this is you can't sit here and get blown away and dominated by young Marlins pitching, even though it's going to be good and they'll have strikeout stuff. You need to make it so that this is a punishing series for a Marlins team that's trying to figure it out as well. Let's see. ESPN's got the Rockies at a 51.9% win. So coin toss, according to ESPN analytics. Let's take a look at the team stats and a little bit more of where the Rockies need to make sure that they dominate and what they a nice little milestone that a winning series will put them closer to here coming up in segment number 3 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book, and you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, which, like I mentioned, did I mention America's #1 sports book? Well, they got something a little different going on for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of an NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Yes, that's a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Not only that, you can get in on all the action, all the props, all the futures. If you're interested in maybe taking the over on the Broncos wins, or maybe, if you're feeling bullish on Bo and the Broncos, well, you can go see all the future and prop bets available to you on FanDuel and on the FanDuel app. But go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to make sure that you are taking advantage of that promo deal. 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, shout outs to you. We're rocking and rolling here through a tough season, and we are bringing you daily Rockies pods still here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Still a lot of great Rockies content out there. The Rockies are taking on the Miami Marlins. 47-83 Miami Marlins are coming into town to take on the 48-83 Colorado Rockies. If the Rockies end up winning this series against the Marlins, and this is not a sweep scenario. A sweep puts the Rockies at 500 at home this year. A sweep or winning 3 out of 4 will put the Rockies a game below 500, which would really be a nice little. That is a nice little milestone to hit. When you're, again, we are looking for silver linings. It's the small things, but that it does show you that the Coors Field effect and the Coors Field environment is returning. We've talked about before, and we mentioned how last year, especially, the Rockies weren't all that dominant at home. And when the Rockies have been struggling in these years, they haven't necessarily made Coors Field the threatening spot that it is meant to be for opposing teams. So it is, and it's 2 teams also coming into this series that are looking to string together some wins. Marlins have lost 4 out of their last 5. The Rockies have lost 4 out of their last 5. Miami just snapped at least a 4-game losing streak. I'm not sure how far back it goes. I've only got the last 5 right here. Let's see if it was any further than that. That was a 5-game losing streak that was snapped. And the Marlins are coming into this series only winning 2 of their last 11 ball games. 4 out of their last 15 ball games. So this is a team that is not necessarily is in a similar spot to the Rockies. So and this is a time to feel confident if you are the young Rockies players. This is a time to sit here and feel like, hey, like Michael Toglia, in a groove, playing for a while at home, still leading the team in home runs, going up against the Rockies. Haven't decided on a pitcher tonight, according to ESPN. But Edward Cabrera is on the mound. 5.65 ERA, a whip of 1.47 in 65 innings pitched. He's already given up 13. He's given up 13 home runs in that time, 38 walks to 73 strikeouts. So clearly there's some issues where Michael Toglia used that ability to have great at-bats because, man, one of the things that's been impressive of him, again, the 221 average and some of the stuff, he walks and he's taken good at-bats mixed with that obviously great defense that we've seen him play. there is some really, really good stuff coming from Michael Toglia. This is a series in which feel confident going into this one. You know that you can do some damage against this team. Throw some haymakers in this one, and build a little momentum up here before a good team comes into town after this, because the Rockies have got a nice little homestand here, which is good for them. But this is their first break from pretty good team. Well, I guess the Nationals in there as well, but Baltimore, Atlanta, Milwaukee after this, you got to make sure that you are sitting here with 3 wins in this series. Because again, you got a tough stretch with two tough road series and a Detroit team that's been kind of making some interesting noise here. This is a homestand in which winning this series is big, because Baltimore's going to be coming in here and they start the series off against Austin Gomber. So that's going to be a tough series to win. I just want this one to be a series in which they don't look outmatched by a bad team. That's what I really don't want to see. That's what I'm really hoping we avoid here in this series, and especially late in the ball game. Close the door, seal the deal. Don't make it interesting at the end. The Rockies shouldn't be in a situation in which they need to have a revenge series against the Marlins, but they are. There needs to really be no funny business in this series. There's really no, this series against the Marlins, there's no excuses. Even with being young rookie guys, this is a Marlins team that is not good and is kind of in different bits and pieces with a lot of young guys coming up and a lot of young pieces on that team as well, as I've mentioned before. This is a situation in which you can't be having 10 strikeout games. You can't be having anybody going up there with the golden sombrero. Ryan McMahon and Brendan Rodgers and the veterans that do get in the lineup need to lock in and punish the mistakes that this team makes. This has to be a situation in which you prove that the Rockies are the better team. I mean, and I know that doesn't mean much for the fan on the outside, but I think it means more for us Rockies fans, because this is a team you should beat. I am confident in saying that I think the Rockies are a better team than the Marlins. Now you have to back that up and you have to walk that walk, especially now with this is going to be starting off in the back end of the rotation, with this being the 4 and the 5 spots in the rotation here for the Rockies and for the Marlins as well, before you end up getting and going back to I'm sorry, it's we're already there. I forgot that Gomber got moved back with Blaylock. So I'm sorry, we're only because you do have Quantrill Freeland going here in this series against Miami, which is great news for the middle part. And then Blaylock there, a chance to close the door there here in the finale. Again, that's a situation, and if there's a sweep on the line, or if the Rockies got a series win on the line, that's when they need to turn to that young guy who went out into New York and had a great start, and replicate that and be able to be confident and maintain that confidence at Coors Field. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the Rockies do against Miami. I really hope it's not a frustrating week of baseball. Well, hopefully it's a more enjoyable week of baseball. The Rockies are usually a lot more fun to watch at home. So we'll see if that continues. But folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. You can find us on your favorite streaming services, and you can find us on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. For your next listen of the day, your second listen of the day, go check out Locked On MLB. Or if you need more Colorado sports coverage, and I think there's quite a bit going on in the world of football, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Buffs, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Nuggets, they got you covered all season long, all off season long, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.